Luckily, the neighbors were used to the big mess that happened every time the Lau family went somewhere in the van. That Sunday morning, before they went to the park, it was the same as always. I'll take the front. No, you take the back. I want the window. This seat smells worse than Lana. Hey, nothing smells worse than me. I like this seat. The lack of space makes me feel like I'm a coffin. Nice try, Luna, but I don't want the back seat. I'll get it. You can't always get what you want says. If you don't back off right now, you'll end up like this guy who lost his left hand and left foot. Wow, Lynn, that was way too harsh. Why? He's all white now. Get it? You're not even trying now, aren't you? It was a sunny day with a radiant blue sky, no clouds in sight. The warm spring breeze came along with the soft smell of flowers and grass, inviting them to have fun outside. Nothing in that warm happy day seemed to foreshadow the terrible storm it was about to land upon the Louds. Lincoln was sitting on his house entry, watching his sisters supposedly fight to the death for a good place in the van. He remembered with a smile, just a few weeks ago, with his plan to get the sweet spot, but completely failed. Ended up in a similar situation. His sisters hadn't actually fully forgive him for trying to cheat them into that. So he decided to stay out of it until they settled down. And he would just occupy the remaining seat. That way, he was avoiding any trouble. Besides, he wasn't feeling well. He had been feeling really tired for almost 2 days, getting neglected for even the smallest effort of having a strong headache. He seemed that it was because he wasn't sleeping well lately, so he shrugged it off. Still, any fight he could avoid. Lincoln! Yelled Lola, creating hiatus in the female hair tune. Why are you sitting there all alone? Do you find a new sweet spot? Accused him Lana. No, not at all, he said heartily, seeing his sisters rapidly approaching with hostile insinuation. You okay, dude? Asked Luna, noticing he wasn't looking outside against her eyes. Yes, I'm okay. It's just, well, Lincoln, what is it? Said Lori impatiently. He sighed. I thought you were still mad at me about the whole sweet spots thing. So I decided to wait for you guys to get your seats first, and then I would just use the last one. The Loud sisters look at each other. Lincoln has his selfish moments, like that time he bought a pool just for him, but in the end he always is the one that cared the most about his siblings. Somehow listening him saying he doesn't want to fight helped them realize how abuse it seemed to be fighting over such a stupid thing. Come on, Lincoln, let's get in the van before Mom and Dad get outside, said Lori, approaching his brother to take him to the van door. But how are we going to be sitting? He asked. All of you make a line from youngest to oldest and get in the seats from the front to the back, she quickly instructed. Without arguing, everyone made a line and started getting inside the car, starting with Lisa. Lenny, sighed Lori. Yeah? Asked LeBlanc with a big smile. You're the second oldest. Yes, I am. That means you go after everyone else. Okay, she said, moving the end of the line, allowing the twins to enter. Lucy went after, but before Lincoln could get in, Lori stopped him. Lynn, would you mind going in now and leave the sweet spot to Lincoln? I think he earned it, just this once. But Lynn stopped halfway through the sentence as Lori glared at her. I mean, of course, brother. You deserve it. After hugging him and giving a nod from Lori, she jumped in the car. Lincoln put one step inside and turned to look at his older sister. Thanks, Lori. Don't mention it to her. Literally. Never. After that, the rest of the girls got inside, just in time for the parents to come out of the house, carrying Lily. They entered the van, and after securing the baby in the seat, the father turned on the engine. You know what, kids? You must have broken a record today. I hadn't even finished putting on my shirt when you stopped fighting. Usually it takes your mother and I 15 minutes to calm you down after we get into the car. And you taking it longer this time. It's actually said Lana. It was a slaughter. But then I saw Lincoln all sign the entry, and then we stopped fighting. Quickly added Lola. So it's actually thanks to me that everyone ended too fast. You can thank me later. What happened to Lincoln? Asked Mr. Loud, looking at his son through the meal. Lincoln was about to answer him, but Lucy speak first. He made us realize how pointless and vain our despite was, just like how everything we do in our liveness, in our countenance, for it does not change our final destiny, death. Too dark, said Luna. Lucy's right about the first thing. The second was literally too weird. Lincoln didn't want to fight with us in the place in here. So he stepped aside, and they made us realize how dumb the whole thing was. The parents looked at each other, surprised about what Lori was telling him. Wow, Lincoln, that was really mature, said Mrs. Loud. Thanks, Mom, said the boy with a smile. I mean it. You're ready for the grown-up table after all. No, he's not, replied the 10 sisters in chaos. Thanks for the support, exactly said Lincoln. If I'm not at the grown-up table, it's just because I don't feel like giving up dessert yet. If I actually want to be there, I could totally do it. Lincoln, it's clear you're not ready to go to the grown-up table, said Lynn with a sense of superiority. That's enough. No more arguments until we reach the park. Finally said Mr. Loud, ending the discussion. While the chaos inside the van started to appear, with twins fighting each other, Luna with her headphones at max volume, and Lynn looking at an excuse to hit him. Lincoln began to think about what his sisters had said. It was the truth he recently had made everything to gain the grown-up table. And the episode had ended bad, but it was really because he sabotaged himself. Acting all grown up was really boring. He preferred the jokes, the yelling, and even the food fights they had in the little ones' tables. He didn't want to quit to those things. Why watching up having to get to the grown-up table? He was a kid after all. He will have time to grow up. Unfortunately, they got to the park in a few minutes, where the parents took Lily into the new sandbox. The rest of the children started drifting apart. Lisa found an anthill and started taking notes on the ant's behavior. Lola and Lana went to the slides and swings, trying to get along with the rest of the kids their age. Lucy looked at the lonely place where none would bother her, and she wrote her dark poems. Lynn started running with a soccer ball until she found a couple of boys playing Imagine and decided to join them. Luna started playing her guitar on top of the bench, with a couple of people watching her. And the wind decided to record everything in case something funny happened, like Luna stage diving right on the ground, Lori and Lenny sitting under a tree, while Lori was busy texting with Bobby. Lenny found herself surrounded by a bunch of boys trying to impress her and to get her number. Oddly enough, Lincoln found himself alone with no sister trying to get him to do anything. A little taken aback from the fact, he decided to take advantage of this by doing What? Exactly? What were 11-year-old boys supposed to do in the park with none to play with? Bored without a clue about what he should do it, he decided to start walking and looking for something to do. He spent the next hour walking, but he didn't find anything to do. He toured the whole park, trying to avoid his sisters, until he found a lonely tree whose branches were perfect to climb. Originally, he wasn't the climbing tree type, but he was so bored and the tree looked so tempting that he decided to do it anyway. So he climbed the tree, and once he reached the top, he rested against the trunk and watched between the leaves. It was really quiet in there, sitting beneath the shadow of the oak, being able to see everyone while hidden from them. As his headache returned, it was starting to hurt more often, he thought. He decided to close his eyes and relax. He didn't want to fall asleep, but he found a comfortable position where he managed to relax himself. Still, he wondered why he was the only one who could find nothing to do in the park. All his sisters find their place within seconds of arriving. Lisa, Lucy, and Lori maybe enjoyed being more unstable, but the rest had managed to get along with people they didn't know without trying. Evidently, he was lately trying to ignore and came to his mind. And it's all for a situation that was the only one that wasn't good at anything in his house. That innocent with the trophy case was still in his mind. All the sisters were good at something, even the case wasn't empty now. The trophy was just a gift from the sisters. It wasn't real. Perhaps, after all, he wasn't good at anything. He suddenly heard a thud and felt the tree vibrate. He looked down and saw a soccer ball bouncing the ground, and the girl picking it up. "Stupid boys," said the girl, kicking the ball once again against the tree. "Who needs them anyway?" She picked up the ball, but this time she held it against her chest and reclined herself against the tree. "Lynn?" said Lincoln in a whisper, so she couldn't hear him. She looked pretty sad, sitting with the ball against her chest. Lincoln was sure he had seen her playing with a group of boys about her age. Was the game over already? Had they fought? He thought about coming down to talk to her, but he wasn't sure that was the best idea. "I don't need him. I don't need them," muttered Lynn. "I don't want to play with them neither. I can do it alone." He sensed the sadness in her last words. He knew how much her sister tried to keep the tough girl appearance, to sound this sad. This had pretty much a big deal. He finally decided to talk with her, since he didn't want to find her if he had been listening. He climbed down by the other side of the tree, trying to not make a noise. He finally positioned himself behind Lynn, who wasn't aware of his brother's presence. "Hey, Lynn," he said at last, scaring his sister. "Ha! Two for flinching." "Hey!" she complained, smiling the weak punches he was giving in her arm. "That's not how it works. You can't just lose it out of nowhere to scare the other one." "Whatever. Why aren't you playing soccer?" he asked, knowing that he could hurt her sister a little. Instead, Lynn's face shouted a little. "I was playing with some boys, but they kicked me out." "What? Why?" "Boys don't like girls being better than them in sports," Jay slowly said, looking straight at the ball in her hands. "Even in school, they always try to avoid me. It's not my fault to be this good. You know, if they trained as hard as I do, they'd be good as well, and they wouldn't be afraid to play with me." He noticed how sad her sister seemed to get, and decided in advance. "Well, if they don't want to get an up-close lesson on how to play soccer, it's their loss. Who needs them anyway?" Then looked up with a shy smile on her face. Thanks, Lincoln, but some sports are meant to be played more than one person. That's why I'm here for." The big smile Lynn had given him made Lincoln feel really happy. "You mean it?" "Of course. Let's kick it up. shall we? Lynn quickly stood up and kicked the ball forward. Lincoln once again began thinking about his lack of his abilities and his almost empty capes. Perhaps after all, he was good at being a big brother to his sisters. He really liked that thought. He liked feeling he could make his sisters happy. Perhaps he wasn't as useless as he thought he was. He saw him playing with Lynn, chasing around the park, trying to get her to steal the ball. But she was very good, fast and skilled, so he could barely keep up with her. The very few times he managed to steal the ball, he could only keep it for some seconds before he lost it again. Even though he didn't have his sister's stamina all these years, hitting the practicing did their thing, and he could usually keep it up about 20 minutes before getting tired. By that day, little after 10 minutes, they can stop, barely being able to stand up. His heart was beating incredibly fast and strong, like was trying to escape from his chest. He was breathing hard, not able to recover from the effort, and his head was killing him once again. He couldn't believe how was this bad after only 10 minutes. All right, Lynn, you win. Can we play something more? Still, you gotta work up, bro, she said while doing tricks with the ball. Stay right there. Let's practice long passes, okay? Okay, you go while I try to catch my breath. Lynn walked away about 30 minutes before preparing the ball. Here it goes. With a strong kick, the ball went up the air, landing right in front of Lincoln. Since stopping the ball was the greatest weakness, he cheated and used his hands to catch it. Lynn yelled at him, something about not practicing over for goalkeeper. But he could barely listen to her. He was feeling dizzy, although it was a strange situation. It was like everything started moving in slow motion. He could see his fear's heartbeat pounding his chest, like his heart didn't know what he wasn't running anymore. Come on, kick it back! With a lot of effort, Lincoln managed to kick it, but he couldn't give it as much strength he needed to do. The ball didn't even lift the ground. It slid all the way to Lynn, who stopped it with her soul. He saw that she was saying something, but this time he didn't even hear it. He took a hand to his head, which was hurting him, almost by his chest. He didn't remember even feeling so much pain. And yet he wasn't able to react properly. He was sitting there with his gaze lost, completely dazed. He saw Lynn kicking the ball. He watched it, getting nearer and nearer, all in slow motion. He knew what was going to happen before he did. Before he couldn't even think about dodging it. With a thud, he fell backwards on the ground, the ball bouncing right next to him. He felt some sore in his forehead, but it was inappreciable from the overall pain he was feeling. He couldn't even move anymore. All he could see was the blue sky and some trees in the background. Link, you okay? He heard before Lynn's face appeared in front of him. She looked worried. Lincoln, you're bleeding. You hear me? Lincoln? It seemed that Lynn was shaking his shoulder, but he couldn't answer her. Everything was becoming a blur. Why is your nose bleeding? If I hit you on the forehead? Lincoln, why aren't you answering? She said, shaking him harder. Lincoln! Lori! Luna! Somebody help! Someone crouched in the rush, but he wasn't able to see who it was. Everything turned black, and he quickly passed out.